All right, welcome to the track guide for the finale. This is Phillip Island, so we'll play the onboard and then talk about it after. Alrighty. Actually, let's go. I forgot about this. So, weather conditions: clear skies, 18 C for air temp and 29 Celsius for track temp. So, come to this first corner here. You're kind of looking where this starts to turn a little bit. It's kind of where I'm just slightly braking and turning in as well. You're not getting too hard on the brakes because it's a very fast corner. We'll slow it down here. You can see just where it starts turning in, I start braking a little bit and turning in as well, just kind of carrying the momentum as fast as possible. You want to brush out right about in the middle of the track because you don't want to go too far to the left. See, I'm right in the middle of the track here on the exit, and I'll kind of bring it to the right just a little bit, and then back over to the left here, just braking slightly. This is a really, really hard corner to get right. A lot of times I end up shooting off the track. So you want to make sure you get nice and tight to the curb in here as possible, trail braking pretty much the entire way, and then down to third gear, back onto the throttle, and then once you're back on the throttle, you want to make sure you're able to kind of come right back to this curbing. With a lot of times, if you're carrying too much speed, you're going to end up washing out here, and you'll end up on the side of the track where it's a little bit less cambered, and it'll just keep going right off the track, and you'll be into the tire barrier or into the grass here. So I try to want to keep it to the left, not hugging the curbing, but definitely it's better to hug the curbing than it is to go too wide. So if you have to choose one or the other, I would definitely try to hug the curbing as much as possible. But ideally, kind of stick with the rubber marker, like the darkened patch of pavement here, and then nice and tight on exit over the curbing, trying to cut this track as much as possible. Again here, turning in for this one, try to stick to the left as possible. Just about cutting the track. Coming into this one here, 100 meter board, I'm braking just slightly before it. It's a really, really hard braking zone. So I'm coming to the left as much as possible and starting to brake just before this 100 meter board. You'll see here, brakes are starting already. Pretty hard braking zone, up to 100%. Kind of following the pavement, the darkened patch here. Down, I don't remember what gear I'm in here. Let's listen. That's second. So I do go down into first gear. Okay. Down to first gear. Trying to get to this inside curb and pretty much as early as possible, and then back on throttle. So you see back on throttle right away just to get that downforce kind of down, even though these cars don't have that much downforce. All the way to the candy stripe curbing, coming back around, getting over top of this one on the left or on the right hand side here. Basically using the end of this for my braking for the next corner here. You just kind of get on the brakes, not too hard, 40%ish, staying in second gear, and then here I got on the throttle. You'll notice here I got on the throttle too early. I get on the throttle and then I have to back out completely. That's because I did too much, and then I get back on the throttle. But normally I would have, well, once we fine tune this, I would definitely not have gotten off and then back on. I would have just waited a little bit later and then got on throttle. We want to stick to the left here as much as possible coming out of it. And then to the right. Again, this is a bit of a hard one. You want to come out to the right as much, just to set up this corner here. I'm a little bit to the right of the seam here. Honestly, that's fine. You can go a little bit wider if you want. I don't think it really matters too much. This is a really fast corner, so there's not very much braking. But you can see I'm already turning in a little bit. I'll probably scrub a little bit of speed before I cross over the seam, and then I'll get right into this kind of curbing. Again, here I did a little bit of a mistake. I got into the brakes, then got off because I realized I was scrubbing too much speed, got onto the throttle, and then got back onto the brakes. So you'll come to the left here as much as possible, especially over this crest. You want to be as close to the left as possible because there's a really hard downhill right-hand corner, which is really crucial to lap time. So stick to the left as much as possible coming to this one, especially with the hump. It'll blow, it'll bring you to the right as much as over the crest because it unloads the weight and you end up going right. You can see the curbing here is off cambered here, and then all of a sudden it switches to cambered. So that's kind of where you want to put those tires. You want to try to get into this cambered rumble strip here. And then you're going to be over to the left as much as possible here, and you start braking just before it goes over that crest. You can see the crest is starting, and now I'm getting on the brakes, staying to the left as much as possible. And then using the camber of this corner here, you want to get right down into the dip of it and get on throttle as early as possible and as hard as possible, because this is full throttle from the rest of this lap here. You can come out nice and wide, put 2 tires over on this rumble strip, stick into the left as much as possible, getting off this curb here a little bit because it's cambered, it's going to push you out. I think I do touch a little bit. And then coming out, just carrying the speed as much as possible. Again, just follow the rubber here, just kind of a late turn in. You can come here, it's full throttle, so you don't really need to worry too much about it. And then set yourself up for the next lap, coming over here to the left. There you go, the 46.3. That was my quicker lap for this one here. This one's a pretty hard track. There's a lot of high speed carrying the momentum. So it's just going to take a little bit more practice for this one. But there you go. That's the last track of the season, and that's the finale for the track guides.